Thanks for the support as a channel member at Jelly Snake Rebel. Marginal gains, Mrs Wearmouth. That's what it's all about. It's slowly edging up the Premier League table, slowly upgrading the ground, slowly upgrading the facilities, slowly upgrading the playing squad. We don't have a reputation to launch straight into the Champions League from here. Yeah, long-term project. Glad you're on board. Hello and welcome to part 105 of Homegrown. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our season review and transfer special at the end of the best season in the history of the football club, league finish-wise. I mean, we've had funner seasons. We've had seasons where we've, I guess, achieved more in the context of where we were at the time. But the history books will state that that season that's just happened is the most successful we've ever been in terms of finishing position in the English football pyramid. We're about to embark on our third season in the Premier League. We're becoming an established Premier League team. We've got more youngsters arriving this summer. We've already got a few wonder kids at the club. Everything is moving in the right direction, but I need to bring this but in because I still get people mentioning this in the comments every day. You've got to remember, in comparison to the rest of the Premier League, we have a tiny reputation and a tiny budget. We are not in a position to go out and get the top tier wonder kids, the kind of wonder kids. If you watch me live on Twitch a few nights a week, managing Sheffield United on there, you'll have seen me hit the Premier League and just immediately go out and within 2 or 3 seasons have a team that's got 18 wonder kids in and we're in the Champions League and everything is awesome. That's because they have a much higher budget and a much higher reputation, and you can go and get those players. Those sort of players will not come to home at the moment. It's got to be, like I was saying to Mrs Wearmouth, baby steps. So let's just temper expectations. This coming season, we're still not really looking to get into Europe. We're just looking to continue improving the facilities, continue improving the squad. And if we're sat here this time next season talking about another best ever finish and another improved squad and another next gen winner, I think that's progress. So let's have a look at the season review to get all of that formalised. As ever, we start off with looking at the signings from the previous season, or at least I would if the buttons worked properly, which apparently they don't want to do. Has the game just crashed on me? Let's try this again. The new arrivals. There we go. So these were all the players who came in last summer. There's actually quite a lot of them. There's more than I thought there would be. Christian's one signing of the season, which, I don't know. I think I usually say I'm not going to argue. I think I might argue with Christian getting signing of the season. He's averaged a 6.7. And we've got Abagai, who's come in averaging roughly the same amount, but he's a wonder kid. We've got Fazikas, who's got a higher average and is a wonder kid. We've got Lukinas, who came in and got 14 goals from 15 starts and a higher rating. Perisato came in with a higher rating and is a nailed-on starter in the team now. I'm not really sure what Christian's done to earn himself signing of the season there, but he's won it. I'm not going to argue too much because ultimately, like it is going to be every summer and has been every summer, we're just going to bring in 6, 8 young players and cross our fingers and hope some of them end up in the first team within 2 or 3 years. That's the plan. This was the season we were supposed to battle against relegation, or battle bravely against relegation. That's the one where I wouldn't have even have got sacked if we've got relegated. In the end, we managed to finish in the top half, a 9th place finish, the highest finish in the history of the club. We're also pretty much maxing out attendances at the new home of football. 97% of our capacity is our average attendance. We have already got agreed an expansion up to, I think, about a 17,000 capacity, which should be going through this summer. So that's going to help with bringing more money into the club and help with the long-term building of the club that ultimately allows us to bring in those better players. This is the big downfall of the squad, not Lukinas, the fact that our top scorer only has 12 goals. I am convinced we solve that, we solve this. If we can find that 20, 25 goal a season striker, I think we qualify for Europe that year, because I think we've now, over the last couple of years, put together a real solid foundation at the back with Williams, this young back four who are wonder kids and are only going to get better. We've got lots of options in midfield. I'm just not sure what the best options are. Our attacking midfielders are great. What we don't have is that striker. And I don't think it's Costabile. I don't think it's Lukinas. I think it's someone who we're yet to meet. Maybe we'll meet them today. Moments to remember is the most forgettable page in Football Manager, ironically. Club reputation-wise, we're still sat at a 3.5-star reputation. So slowly but surely getting to where we need to be. I think to be able to get those real top-tier wonder kids, we need to get to a 4-star reputation. And then we need to be able to throw money at them. Referring back to the Sheffield United save again, the one we always talk about is Sergio Tabakaru, who we signed the year we got promoted to the Premier League. He was a wonder kid striker who was wanted by Atletico Madrid. He was wanted by AC Milan. And we managed to get him for less than £10 million. So far, it's like, well, newly promoted team, less than 10 million quid. Why can't we get this kind of player? Because in order to get him, we had to pay him over £100,000 a week to convince him to come to us rather than going to one of them. And we can't give players £100,000 a week yet. So it's all baby steps towards that. Money is going in the right direction. You can see our sponsorships have gone up massively in the last year from $1 million up to 14 million. A big chunk of that is the new stadium sponsorship. Now we're back at now we're at the new home of football. We also got an extra shirt sponsor, I think, last year as well, which helped bump that up significantly. Broadcast revenue's gone up. Corporate and hospitality is down a little because we've moved to a smaller ground. We were playing in Milton Keynes last year. We had a higher average attendance last year than this year. Likewise, match day and commercial revenue's gone down a little bit because of that as well. These should go back up again as we get the stadium expansion through. But competition prize money has doubled because we've finished that much higher in the league. That's the difference that Premier League finishing positions make, a doubling of prize money. We sold 7,500 shirts. Ali Basic selling more shirts than anybody is really interesting because a day does not go by where at least one person doesn't turn up in the comments and tells me Ali Basic is a waste of space and we should bin him off. That tells me Ali Basic is a hero. He's a superstar. And maybe we're all underestimating him a little bit. But Ali Basic, Davies, Hodgkinson, Curry and Fazekas selling the most shirts. We need to lay off Ali Basic. He's our current hero, apparently. And this was our team of the year. The fact that Kieran Hodgkinson's up front in it really does demonstrate the weakness we've got up front, I think. Once again, for the Jack Green fan club, the only player averaging over a 7, Alex Williams, once again with a 7.16. So it's Williams in goal, a back four of McCartan, Abagai, Fazekas and Perasato. That's the back four we'll be using for a long time to come now. Loy will come in for McCartan eventually, but I think that's the back four that gets us into Europe. I don't see that we need to. Certainly Abagai, Fazekas, Perasato, Williams, they ain't going to need upgrading, even if we hit the Champions League, I don't think. Curry and Ali Basic with Hodgkinson as an extra midfielder. I think those as a 3 as midfield options are all great. We know Richardson is great. We know we've got Richards as backup. Sebastião, I've still got the odd question mark over, but we know we've got Lukinas who can compete with him. Christian, one signing of the season. We just need a striker. Kieran Hodgkinson is not it. Club awards then. Fans Player of the Year goes to Alex Williams. Young Player of the Year, Kenlyn Richardson, our English wonder kid who surely makes his England debut at some point. Christian signing of the season, Ali Basic goal of the season, Lukinas got top scorer, Perasato most assists from right back, which is always nice to see. Williams most man of the matches and highest average rating, and Jonathan Akani, who also gets slaughtered in the comments on a regular basis, most past completion. Club records that have been broken this year. So Harrison Davies beating his own club record as he does every year. Now 409 league appearances for the club. He's never going to get beaten. He's just going to keep adding to it and adding to it. And within a year, he should also be able to get a testimonial as well, which will be awesome. And we also spent our record transfer fee on ultimately Davies' long-term replacement, Enoch Abagai, for £30 million, another of our English wonder kids. It was a good season. I mean, there's no disputing it was a good season. The all-time best 11, how's that been updated? Eli Campbell is still in at left-back in the all-time best 11. He's been at Orlando City for the last few years. Just screams, we need a decent left-back. Even the team now, the defence, the weakness is the left-back, I think, with McCartan. So we definitely need to fix that longer term. Shay Charles is still in there. He is now at Wimbledon, where he's been for the last 3 years. Back in the Championship, playing Championship football more frequently than he ever has at 29 years old. So good work, Shay Charles. 11 caps for Northern Ireland now as well. Then you've got Davies and Curry, Hodgkinson, obviously all still with us. Micah Hamilton left last year to join Motherwell permanently after his loan. I still can't believe we got 5.5 million for him. And I imagine they're feeling they can't believe they spent 5.5 million on him, because it's not been the greatest of seasons for Micah Hamilton up in Scotland, and that he's still in the all-time best 11 as well. Terrell Whitaker, still in on the left-hand side, still at Blackpool, 30 years old now. Bearing in mind, we signed him as an 18-year-old. He's now 30. We're getting to that point in the save where players we brought in are going to start retiring soon. Not because no one wants them, but because they're done. Their career is finished. And that's really cool. Terrell Whitaker scoring goals again down in League Two. Will he get 100 league goals before his career ends? Probably not. But he might get close to 500 career league appearances, which that's always your advantage of starting as young as he did. Connor Roberts left this year, left to go to Crystal Palace, and it looks like they dropped him fairly soon after he arrived, only playing 4 games, or only starting 4 games for Crystal Palace in the second half of the season. He started 19 games for us in the Premier League last year. So maybe Connor Roberts overstayed his welcome a little bit. And likewise, Renan moved on this year, went to play for Reading, and he's another one. I mean, he's gone down to the Championship and only started 2 games. It shows just how above their level some of these players were playing, when the likes of Renan and Connor Roberts, maybe they were only ever League One players. Hamilton as well. Maybe these were League One players who we were forcing incredible performances out of in the Premier League. That gives you some good context, I think, because Jessop's another example of it. Tommy Jessop at 28 is now available for free because he was released by Hull after 1 goal in an entire season in League One, and he spent the last year not being able to find a club. So at 28, Tommy Jessop looks like he's finished. The same Tommy Jessop who we got into that 20-goal bracket 2 years in a row in the Championship because we were getting him to play out of his skin. Context, boys and girls. Oliver Wright is still playing for Newport. In fact, no, he is now playing for Newport down in the National League, so he's fallen back into non-league. He should be a Premier League player. Joe Barr, we know, left in January to go and play in China and seems to be having a lovely time over there. Good luck to Joe Barr in China. Callum Cisse, another one who's now turned 30. He's signed for Lincoln in League One, where he's playing pretty regularly this year. Mauro Bandera is at Coventry, playing regularly for them in League One. Slam Dunk, we know all about. Slam Dunk is the Birmingham manager, and I'm still convinced he's going to be my opposition manager in our Champions League final when we eventually get there. I love Slam Dunk's career trajectory. Akani is obviously still here, and Micah Beerith is at Swansea in League Two, where he's between Bolton and Swansea. He's not scored a goal in League Two all year. Another one we were forcing some very, very good performances out of. Playing out of his skin, above his level. Right, let's skim through the rest of this. What's Mrs Wearmouth got in store for us over the next 5 years? Still fighting bravely against relegation. So basically, the goal for the next 5 years is not get relegated, stay within the wage budget and sign players to sell at a profit. She wants us to just become a bottom half. I mean, and really, for a club of home size, that would be an incredible achievement. 5 years or 7 years it would be in the Premier League, operating at a profit. That's the dream. We want more, though. We want to win everything. We want to become the greatest team in history. So our plans for next year: avoid relegation. Alex Williams wants more. Well, in that case, Alex will. And now McCartan thinks we can't achieve that. You know what? I'm going with Alex Williams rather than McCartan. If Alex Williams thinks we can achieve more, we can achieve more. If McCartan doesn't think we can achieve it, that seems like the cue to replace him. That's what my assistant manager thinks our best team is at the moment. I don't think I've ever used that combinations of players, especially Jørn Andersen in ahead of Abagai and Perasato at left back. It's always a very weird team that you get presented with at the end of the season. There's confirmation of the end of season team break. We're off to the USA on our holidays, and we've already spent pretty much all of our budget, unless at the moment we're on for getting 2 million because we've already got 7 players due to come in. And this guy won't come in now. We decided not to go for Bonpastor because we wanted 2 others instead. So we've got 6 players who are all coming in on the 9th of June. We'll meet them when they arrive. His transfer will then get cancelled. And fingers crossed, Mrs Wearmouth is about to give me a big bunch of cash. Abagai's upset I've not upgraded the coaching team. I'll sort it now. I guess I need to go and find a new coach. The frustrating thing is We've got certainly outfield. We have the best outfield coaching team in the entire Premier League. We're first for everything. It's just goalkeepers that need upgrading, but I'm going to have to sack someone. We're going to sack the weakest coach and bring someone else in just to keep our wonder kid happy. Should we sack Mark Wearmouth? Isn't it time we were allowed a second assistant manager? I'd like to bring Mark Wearmouth back up to the assistant manager position again. But it doesn't look like we're able to. Come on, Mrs Wearmouth. In fact, just give me more coaches. There you go. She said I can have more coaches. We've had stuff appear. So although it's not showing there yet, we must be allowed more coaches. So let's hire some more coaches to keep Enoch Abagai happy, because that's quite the high priority. Are we getting this transfer budget? There you go. We're about to see the budget. So we're going to have 16 first team coaches, which is nuts. There's the state confirmation of stadium expansion as well. Exciting times. So despite me already spending all the budget, she's still giving me a budget. What a woman. And we've got £1 million of wage budget, which is more than we had before, and another £30 million to spend, which we can only spend on domestic players. So that's going to be the hunt for English, or should I say British? Because when I said English last summer, people were like, why can't you sign Scottish players? We can. British. We're going to go and sign British wonder kids. That's the goal with that 30 million. It might be British wonder kid, because we know how expensive they are. We've seen it with Richardson. We've seen it with Abagai. We're going to go and sign British youngsters. And there's the confirmation of the stadium expansion that we already knew about. In fact, I think this is a bigger expansion than the one we already knew about. And we're actually moving out of the ground for a year. We're off to Leicester. So at least we're not going back to Milton Keynes. That is interesting. We've been in the new home of football 1 year, and now we're spending £8 million moving out of it to increase it to a 20,000 capacity. That was not the original plan. The original plan was take it up to like 17, and it was going to get done by September. So we've obviously boosted the plan even further. I don't mind heading to Leicester for a year. It's certainly a nicer place than Milton Keynes. They're less likely to steal us and keep us there forever. Yeah, we're off to Leicester for a year. The new home of football is getting even... Hold on. For a second, I thought we were getting a new stadium. No, it is an expansion of the stadium. That panicked me for a second there. We've been in the current ground a year, but no, it is just an expansion. What does that do to the finances? Not a lot. We've still got loads of money. So can we... Oh, we can't boost the other facilities at the moment. Someone has to see the facilities. We boost them all the time. We're always investing in our facilities. So you can see we've got state-of-the-art training facilities, superb. So I'd like to up the youth. I want state-of-the-art youth again, but exceptional academy coaching, exceptional youth recruitment. So yeah, we are moving back into the new home of football next summer. So a season in the King Power. Does that mean Leicester got relegated? Because normally you don't have two teams in the same stadium in the same division, which I think is, yeah. I think that's why we had to play in Milton Keynes before, because Leicester were in the, although Leicester have got promoted. I don't know if it's going to let us play in Leicester, because that's going to be two teams in the same division in the same league, which is exactly why we had to go to Milton Keynes before, even though Leicester's nearer. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, maybe now it's nailed down, we're definitely going to be in Leicester. Maybe this will be the thing that crashes and kills the save. Or maybe once everything transfers over to the new season, that'll sneakily change and we'll go back to Milton Keynes again, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. But for now, I need to get my scouting cap on, because we've got all this new money to spend. Let's go spend it, and we'll be back once the new players arrive on the 9th of June, or if anything else significant happens before then. Well, I imagine this is why we couldn't ask to spend more money on facilities, because it looks like we'd already done it last summer. Youth facilities have been upgraded, and there's your confirmation. We now have state-of-the-art training facilities and state-of-the-art youth facilities. So I think facilities-wise, we are absolutely maxed out now. Obviously, they will drift off in time, and within a year or two, we're going to have to invest some more money in it again. But off the pitch, the club is in as good shape as it could be. Apart from, it would be nice to be in our own ground for the coming year, but looking very good facilities-wise. This should put us in the best position to bring through the best quality youngsters we possibly can. Keep an eye on the next few youth intakes, boys and girls. We should get some future England stars coming through our own youth system. It is new player arrival day. Let's see if any of them have decided to become wonder kids since they were agreed. It doesn't look like it. Passotti is in. This is the guy who should have been in back in January, but we couldn't follow through on the deal. We'd already signed too many players. He was at the time labelled as the next Dunga. He is now not. He is also not a wonder kid. Very sad, but he does have 5-star potential, and he is a central midfield, a defensive midfielder, which is a role we need, and we don't really have anyone who's very good at it yet. So Passotti potentially has a future at the base of the midfield for us, or even in the Nathan Curry role in central midfield. And we've got Ignacio Bueno, who's an 18-year-old Argentinian. They're all 18. We don't need to go through the ages, Kev. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He will come in as our 7th choice striker, another striker with less than 10 for finishing, and he's not a wonder kid. You lot are loving this, aren't you? Oliveira is Brazilian under-20 international. Oh, hello. We've got a special one here, boys and girls. He must be a wonder kid. We must have a Brazilian wonder kid on our hands here. 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's as good as Kieran Hodgkinson as an attacking midfielder. He's one of our better central midfielders. He is one of the best strikers at the club. Please be a wonder kid, Oliveira. Oh, he's the next Ronaldinho. He's not a Brazilian wonder kid. What do we have to do for him to become a Brazilian wonder kid? He can't be far away, surely. At 3.5-star current ability already. He looks like he is going to be a very good player for us. We've got Albert Ameti, who's an Albanian winger. He can play on either side. He can also play up front. An Albanian under-21 international, 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. Of course, he comes in from Real Betis. Another striker, Carlos Caetano, 9 finishing again. It's the new trademark. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. Hold on, in terms of strikers, he would be the 12th best at the club. He came in from Gremio, would that be? I should have got the Brazilian name fix on. And then lastly, Cristiano Lacagnina is an 18-year-old Italian under-20 international central midfielder or attacking midfielder. He can play both. With that other new guy coming in, he ain't going to play as attacking midfield, is he? With Christian already here. But a little bit of quality and pace in central midfield, and he comes in from Spal. Previously had been at Juventus. Spal bought him for 1.8 million last year. He played 6 games in Serie A, and now for £6 million becomes a Premier League player with Holme. Let's send them all on language courses, welcome them all in. I had been toying with the idea. You saw me yesterday using the 4-2-4, and I actually have, I'll show you in a second, a 3 at the back system with a libero that I planned to be training over the summer. But seeing Oliveira and seeing that he is just a level above any attacking midfielder we've ever really had at the club, I think we probably are going to be going back to the 4-2-3-1. So I've actually got this being trained, which would get the best out of Abagai, but doesn't have an attacking midfielder. So I think with Oliveira now in, we've got to be playing him in here. What does he want to be in that role? An advanced playmaker. So he's much better at being an advanced playmaker than anything else. So let's tweak this. Let's build the system around the player we finally got who can slot into that role. We can have Kieran Hodgkinson and Nathan Curry potentially together in midfield. So a ball-winning midfielder, a box-to-box midfielder. Yeah, if we did something like that, then Oliveira should... Why is he not jumping up the thing? Because it's set to player's best role. It should be set to... I know what I mean. Oliveira is better than it indicates on there. We still need a striker. We've got £30 million to go and find one. What's going on here? We've had two offers for Ernie Grucock. I'm inclined to probably accept them because at 22, he's not made the breakthrough. He's 3-star current ability. So Grucock is the 5th best striker at the club, apparently. That says more about our strikers than about Ernie Grucock, I think. 5th best central midfielder. He is English, which is an advantage. But at 22, he's still not broken into the team. How much did we pay for him? We paid 3 million. I mean, I'm not going to accept. He's worth 7.25. I'm not desperate to sell. I'm not accepting these offers. But if we were to get an offer in the £5 to £10 million range for Grucock, I think we probably let him go. Akani, I think with the new boys who are in, probably needs to be moved on. He's down to 2-star current ability. Yeah, we need to. Sorry, Akani. It's been a lovely nearly 10 years. But it's time for you to go and play for somebody else. Let's just have a look at this first team squad. If we get all of this off and then have a look. So down here, right at the bottom of the current ability, we've got Akani, we've got Green. Green will be our backup keeper forever. That's fine. I don't mind him knocking around on that rating. Zapatar's still only 20 and has 5-star potential. If they've still got 5-star potential, then I'm comfortable. If we move up a little bit high, we've got Davies and Curry, who we've got to keep for their experience. McCartan is potentially under threat, other than the fact that he plays regularly. Costa Bile at 22 kind of goes into a similar category as Grucock. He's never really going to get any better than he is now. And what he is now, on his day, might be good enough. But he's taking an awful long time to fulfill the potential that we thought he had when we brought him in. Costa Bile, Grucock, Pirozzi, these are the guys who are under threat of maybe being moved on. But Akani definitely goes this summer. And now we go find a striker. Boys and girls, we've signed an English youngster. Not just an English youngster, we've signed the next Stanley Matthews. That'll do. Stanley Matthews, little before my time. Here he was quite a big deal though. So James Morgan is a right winger, 17 years old, 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. We'll get him into our training camp squad, get Harrison Davies to welcome him into the club. He came in from Burnley, where he'd never played a game, £7.5 million to bring him in. And it's not even cost us anything to do because we sold a player to cover it. Luca Pirozzi's gone to West Brom for £10 million. I mean, I don't get it. He played 5 games for us in the 3 years that we had him. I think, is he classed as homegrown at club? No, he's not. So we don't have the option of ever bringing him back if he turns out to be awesome. But I don't think he is going to turn out to be awesome. We've got Loy, we've got McCartan. He was our 5th choice left back. He didn't have much potential left. He was 21 and they offered £10 million for him. It seemed like a no-brainer to me. Other bits and bobs that have gone on, we've sold Colin O'Hara. We've loaned a couple of players out. Alec Lay has joined Charlton permanently. We're also, Tristan McDonald is now our 2nd best goalkeeper. He's done a bit of a Mick Powell. He's now on 2.5-star current ability, which is as good as Jack Green, but still has his 5-star potential. But this is where the long-term planning comes in, because we've got Jack Green now as our forever backup goalkeeper, because we've ruined him by not playing him and he's not fulfilled his potential and we didn't loan him out because we needed a backup keeper. But this is where the long-term comes in, because we always knew we had Tristan McDonald. Jack Green can just stay and sit on our bench while we loan McDonald out to the Championship for a year or two and get game times into Tristan McDonald. So eventually, when he's 22, 23, 24, he can come into the team as a 4-star current ability goalkeeper and displace Alex Williams. Long-term planning. He's not the next Peter Shilton, though, like Williams was. Talking of players being the next someone or other, where is he? We've got the next Michael Owen knocking around somewhere, apparently. I don't know if there's an easy way to find who's been given one of these media descriptions. I kind of just noticed them as I'm nosing around, but Nigel Merrin is the next Michael Owen. And I don't know, do you have to just go through every player and have a look? Is he the next anybody? No. I notice him when I notice him, but we've got the next Stanley Matthews and the next Michael Owen. That could be quite a handy English combination of players that we've got there. Barcelona. I mean, they're just making an inquiry. This boy's had his head turned before. It might be time to offer Alex Williams a long contract with no release clause in it. Barcelona, he is not for sale. We hold firm, he is not for sale. Watch him now get upset. We just beat Atletico Madrid in the Wearmouth Cup, by the way. We're on for winning a Wearmouth Cup that includes Atletico, Zenit, and Lazio, which would be awesome. We're also clearing out some of our players who've been cluttering up the place for a few years. We've got rid of Ernie Grucock's gone to Brentford, 3.3 million. Nathan Rowe is an interesting one because he's an England under-19 international, still only 19 years old. We signed him last summer for 4.3 million, but he dropped down to 2 stars of solid reputation and one. I think he was showing us 2 white ones, but basically he wasn't close to 5-star potential anymore. And Watford came in and offered more than we paid for him. Yeah, he's 6'5", and I love that. You can't teach that, but yeah, we've taken our profit early on him. Ernest Czakowski has gone back to Poland. He was there on loan last year and was rubbish. He's not the one, I don't think. So we've sent him back to Poland. We've got lots of money knocking around the place. We've got £43 million to spend. I'm looking at this guy and I really can't decide what I want to do. He's not yet fully scouted, so I'm kind of holding fire until we can get some clarification on this. If he's got a full 5 stars of potential, then I'm happy to throw £8.5 million at him. He got 20 goals for Luton in League One last year. So he's a goal scorer, but he is still only 11 on finishing. But I need him to be a little bit more scouted because at the moment, £8.5 million is too much of a risk for him to come in and be showing his only 3-star potential, especially because on scouting recommendation, he's only currently a League Two player. So we might well be going through this summer without bringing anybody else in, and we're just going to sit on a big bunch of cash, he says, as someone else appears with a price tag next to their name, on loan from Manchester City, 18-year-old England under-20 international. How scouted is he? 100% scouted. Cameron Little, you might be coming home. He's fickle, my kind of player. He's still only 11 for finishing. He wants to be a support striker, which isn't really ideal. If we were to play him as the advanced forward that we like to use, once again, it's the finishing that's going to let him down. Finishing, passing. But at 18, when does he turn 19? He turns 19 right at the start of January. Part of me thinks, let's see how he gets on at Forest for half a season in the Championship before throwing big money at him. But then the other part of me thinks, he's a young English striker. These never become available. And we could potentially get him for less than 20 million quid. So the same sort of money we spent on Kenlon Richardson a few years ago. And that worked out nicely. I think I'm more inclined to take the plunge on Little than I am on Vulnek, who I was willing to spend 8.5 on. I mean, he's a considerably better player at this stage than Vulnek. Brilliant name. I think we're going to put an offer in for Cameron Little. And if we can get him for like 15 million on the Never Never, that could be... It's the kind of gamble that's worth taking at this point. They want a lot of money for him. They want a lot of money for him. Can we squeeze him down to like that kind of amount? That's gone up even higher. They don't want to play silly games with me, clearly. Right, let's try and take it down to just like 18 million. But the bulk of it on the Never Never like that. There we go. No sell on either, which is always handy. So I think we're going to take the plunge on him. Just throw some cash at an English youngster. Well, I enjoyed bringing Cameron Little in for Manchester City so much that I went back to the well a second time. So firstly, Little is in. Forest want to take him back on loan again. They're probably a little bit miffed that they had their loan lined up, paid a fee, and we've just gone over the top of them, thrown £18 million at Manchester City and drafted Little straight into our first team squad. So he's not going to be loaned out anytime soon. But while we were at Manchester City, they had a buy one, get one free offer. Almost. It's another 15 million quid. But AD Lillis is a left midfielder. Obviously for us, he's going to play left wing. Right midfielder. He'll play right wing or left wing for us. Nice and quick. And he's young, obviously, because this is Holme. 2-star current ability, 5-star potential for him. He's cost us 14.75 million, but as another young English player. And then just as we got him in, this guy showed up on my scout reports. Besat Shabani is another right winger. Well, in fact, he's a central midfielder who, for some reason, it keeps showing me him as a right winger. But he's a playmaker in central midfield, 1.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He was at Everton previously. They released him for some reason. So we've just snapped him up. We've let more players go as well. I think we got as far as Tchaikovsky before. We've let a few more fringe players go. Kennedy, Pinto, Gerson Pinto. In fact, I'll show you him because he'll be behind my face at the moment. He's gone back to Portugal because he was never any good. So we took a bit of a loss on him. And we've also sold Onyango, who was still knocking around at the club. I actually forgot he was still here because he's been out on loan for the last 2 years, not playing any football. But inexplicably, Brentford have spent money on him even after that last couple of years. So I'm certainly not complaining. Onyango has moved on as well. No surprise, really, when we've got 2 more central right midfielders who've just come into the club. We've also loaned out Michael Hippolyte for the season. He is going to be a star. 2-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's a proper attacking right wing back. Get him a season playing in the Championship for Barnsley, and then I expect him to be in our team next year, which means Peresato is probably going to have to learn to play left back. He's a right footer, but he's a natural at left back. So I think long term we have Peresato at left back, which is why we're only going with McCartan as the only left back in the squad at the moment. Loy's gone out on loan because I want Peresato to have game time at left back. We've got Sam Gillespie at the moment who can play right back, but his long-term future might be at centre back, possibly, although his heading's not great. I'm looking at him thinking he's 6'2", 19 jumping reach, but with only 9 for heading, maybe not. Maybe he'll just be competing at full-back forever. But I'm thinking this is our team for the new season. We're going with Ali Basic initially up front because he's everybody's hero. But we've got Luquinas, we've got new boy Caetano, and we've obviously got Little, who we've just brought in from Manchester City. We've got Costabile, and we've got Sebastião, we've got Hodgkinson, although Kieran Hodgkinson is going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season. He's got a torn thigh muscle. Alex Williams did sign his new contract, and Barcelona have gone away, which is nice. And fingers crossed, we should be on course for another season of progress. Season preview-wise, the media still think we're going to finish 19th because they're morons. And the best player at the club is still Kieran Hodgkinson, with Rolando Passotti now considered our best young player. Still not going to be the next Dunga again. But, you know, he might be better than Dunga. Who knows? He certainly looks like he's going to be a very solid member of our new central midfield lineup. And as a Brazilian under-20 international, that's always nice and exciting. But we'll wrap things up there for today. As you can see, we start the season off in a difficult fashion away against Manchester City. So, I don't know, we've just given them 30 million quid. You'd think they'd let us have a win on the first day. Fingers crossed for that tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.